Congress MP Shashi Tharoor has once again openly, publicly praised Prime Minister Modi. That's got everyone speculating. This time, the Congress MP praised the Modi-led government for its Vaccine Maitri initiative, which facilitated essentially the distribution of COVID-19 vaccines to several countries. Tharoor praised India's leverage after becoming the world's vaccine manufacturing hub. He also stated that this significantly enhanced India's soft power on the global stage. BJP's welcomed Shashi Tharoor's praise for Prime Minister Modi. They say other leaders should also come forward to laud Modi's diplomatic governance, which has made India better globally, is how they've put it. But clearly embarrassing for the Congress, as you've got Tharoor once again publicly praising Prime Minister Modi. So while you've now got him speaking about COVID vaccines and the Vaccine Maitri initiative, which is why he's praised the Modi government, previously the Congress MP has praised Prime Minister Modi for his diplomacy. Listen to what he said just a few weeks ago.
Are you glad that India took the position it did? I mean, it carried on buying Russian oil and gas, for example.
Yes, I'm still wiping the egg off my face because I was the one person in the parliamentary debate who actually criticized the Indian position at the time, back in February 22, on the well-worn grounds that Espen will understand, because he and I talked about all this in my UN days, that there was a violation of the UN Charter, that there had been a violation of the principle of the inviolability of borders, of the sovereignty of a member state, namely Ukraine, and we had always stood for the inadmissibility of the use of force to settle international disputes. And all of those principles, I said, had been violated by one party, and we should have condemned it. Well, a couple of years later, 3 years later, it does look like I'm the one with egg on my face, because clearly the policy has meant that India has actually a prime minister who can hug both the president of Ukraine and the president of Moscow 2 weeks apart and be accepted in both places. And therefore, India is in a position where it can make a difference. PM has taken a consistent position that the solution to this conflict has to come through diplomacy. In fact, you may remember his famous statement in Samarkand in front of President Putin, where he said this is not an era of war, and that solutions have to be found peacefully. We do seem to be at the beginning of a peace process of some sort. First of all, the parties have to be involved. The Ukrainians will have to have a seat at the table. The European Union and the European countries in the neighborhood, which have been very actively involved in the conflict, they will demand and legitimately expect a seat at the table.
And listen into how the BJP has chosen to react to these comments from Shashi Tharoor.
What Shashi Tharoor ji is saying is basically an acknowledgement of the good work done by the government. And that's how it should be. If India does well, it's a matter of pride for every Indian. There can't be partisan politics on it. So when he's spoken on the vaccine diplomacy, it's a statement of fact. And this is what would have been expected from the entire Congress party, not just one member from within the party.
You know, it is the inner democracy in our party. I do not know what is the tweet of Shashiji, but as far as COVID period is concerned, it was the worst period in the history of our country. According to WHO, more than 50 lakh people were dead during that period. Dead bodies were floating in Ganga and Yamuna. No oxygen was available at all. Modi Sahab has given a call, Thali Bajao. All of a sudden, announcement came, lockout in the whole of country. Thousands and thousands people were killed during that time. So it was very, very difficult time, and government of India has taken no precaution. And basically, it is Modi Sahab who is responsible, because he brought President America, Donald Trump, to Ahmedabad, as I remember, and more than 1 lakh people were gathered, and only from that point this COVID was spreaded all over the country.
Whatever Modi ji has done during this period, during the COVID period, and the vaccines being sent to different countries, these are steps, humanitarian steps, which ultimately is the truth, that we in India are a humanitarian-based country. Our governance, our concepts, our ideology is based on a global situation where there is a problem, we are there. So that is the realization that is catching up in the open. And it's a good sign, because it has been a tradition that on external affairs, on foreign affairs, there's always been a consensus. It is only recently that the current dispensation of the Congress decides to fight on every issue on foreign policy and has this tendency of sending out its leaders to demean our democracy, to demean our foreign policy. And that is also the ideology followed by the India Alliance. So this kind of a situation, when people in the opposition start realizing it, that's good for the country.
Let's bring in Maushmi Singh for more details on this. Maushmi, even as the Congress High Command is rather mum on all of this praise that Shashi Tharoor is praising on Prime Minister Modi, on the government, there are questions and endless speculation on what Mr. Tharoor is attempting to do. Is this going to be seen as some sort of an outreach to the BJP?
You know, those questions have arisen earlier as well, when there have been multiple times when Dr. Tharoor has praised Modi government's policies vis-a-vis the Russia-Ukraine war, and we've seen in the House where Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke about foreign policy in his recent speech and mentioned Dr. Tharoor, saying how certain leaders wanted to attack the foreign policy of India, and he was not talking about Shashi Tharoor, and we saw Mr. Tharoor smile there. But clearly, this has, raised eyebrows within the Congress party. The Kerala cadre of the Congress party is a very, very formidable, consolidated unit, and they have, in fact, been a model for the rest of the Congress party in other states, which Rahul Gandhi has said many times. Priyanka Gandhi is an MP from Kerala. Elections are around the corner next year, and already the preparations have started. So now there is a rumor growing that whether Shashi Tharoor's remarks continuous taking a different line from the Congress party could actually damage the Congress in Kerala. Whereas, we know for a fact that Dr. Tharoor has been asking the Congress leadership to define his role as far as, Kerala is concerned, and how one of his interviews raked up a political storm. So I don't think that this controversy is going to die down easily, Akshata.
All right. Thanks, Maushmi, for the moment, for joining us with those details.